Hello, and welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is John Rose, and in this video I'm going to take a closer look at the 6 mistakes according to Marcus Tullius Cicero, 106 to 43 BC. 6 mistakes. Number 1, the delusion that individual advancement is made by crushing others. Win-lose. We know now it's much better to think win-win, right? In fact, that's one of Stephen Covey's 7 habits of highly effective people. Think win-win. Now, I did a video on Stephen Covey's 7 habits of highly effective people. I'll put a link down below. And I point out in that video that win-win is really on our to-get list. Remember, 3 stages of knowledge. What we think, what we do, and have done to us, and what we get. On our to-get list, if we're on the right path, applying knowledge, satisfying our needs, we don't have problems within our control. And all those things we want that will motivate us to do the right thing are on our to-get lists. Like cooperate and love one another, and share, and all those things that they tell us that we should do, whether it's 7 spiritual laws or 10 commandments. Those are on our to-get list. They should be a given if we're just taught how to eat to win-win. We eat to win-lose. Think about it. When you eat a hamburger, something's losing in that bargain, in that trade. Not a bargain at all, is it? If we could learn and be taught to eat to win-win, where our food wins also, which it does because there's a symbiotic relationship with our species-specific diet. When it flourishes, we do too. We should think win-win when it comes to eating, and when we did that, we would automatically think win-win. We would know that individual advancement comes not by crushing others, but by making everything around us better. That's what happens when we bump up our biophotons and gain back our 6th sense. We feel one with everything. And we realize there's only one way to make our lives better, to make everything around us better. You crush something else, you crush yourself. Think win-win. Number 2, the tendency to worry about things we cannot change. Think about that one. That's Stephen Covey also. Be proactive instead of reactive. The tendency to worry about things we cannot change, that cannot be changed. We don't want to worry about things that cannot be changed. And I explained that in my special teaching tool, where if we look at the 3 stages of knowledge, our problems are in that 3rd stage on the wrong path. And there's identified 2 main types of problems. 103 are problems within our control, and 104 are those problems that are outside our control. So we don't want to worry about those things we cannot change. And this goes back to Epictetus, the Serenity Prayer, 3 types of problems: complete control, limited control, no control whatsoever. The Serenity Prayer. God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and wisdom to know the difference. And this is the key right here, and I pointed that out in that video I did about Stephen Covey's 7 habits. Being proactive. We lack the wisdom to be proactive. We don't realize most of our problems are self-inflicted. We've been tricked into thinking they're outside our control, and we got to go run to our so-called experts so they can give us poisons in the name of health. Yes, we want to be proactive. We don't want to worry about things that cannot be changed, but cancer and heart disease and diabetes and arthritis, these things are within our control, most of them complete control. Number 3, insisting that a thing is impossible because we cannot do it ourselves. That's a good one, isn't it? You hear that quite often, don't you? Oh, I tried the raw food diet, it didn't work for me, it can't work for anybody. Well, folks, I'm going to go into this in that last mistake that Cicero goes into, about how some people might need to modify our species-specific diet. And I say this 1,000 times in my videos. Our species-specific diet is only our ideal diet in an ideal world. We don't live in an ideal world anymore. The environment's been damaged. We've been damaged individually. And as a result, we have to modify, we might need to modify what used to be the best preparation for a better way of life. So don't insist that this isn't our species-specific diet just because it didn't work for you. And again, I'll go into that in more detail in just a moment. Number 4, refusing to set aside trivial preferences. I actually labeled this as piece number 10 in my special teaching tool. Identified 281 pieces in my tool that uses knowledge in a way that's never been seen before. It's called the ultimate schematic. First 21 pieces are 21 main problems of knowledge, 55 total problems of knowledge. Of those 21 main problems of knowledge, 2 forms of ignorance, 12 source of false knowledge, 7 witness factors. Piece number 10 is our lack of continuity among those of us who know what's going on. And as a result, we don't offer a unified message to the masses. We got to set aside our trivial preferences and get the message out. And we can fine-tune and tweak this and figure out how to deal with the damage later on down the road, but we got to have a unified message. Number 5, according to Cicero, neglecting the development and refinement of the mind and not acquiring the habits of reading and study. Remember, folks, we're on the hero's journey. One of the things on the hero's journey is to gather data and to gather allies. Now, when I was a kid growing up, I always did all my homework, read everything I was supposed to read, but I didn't really enjoy it. I much preferred to go outside and play. I lived to play back then. And also, I've learned now that reading and studying is relative to what you're studying. As soon as I found knowledge that could improve my life and improve other people's lives, I got excited about studying. And that's what you guys got to do also once you join the hero's journey and accept the mission. Prove this to yourself. You see what it does to yourself. Now you got to get more data. You got to study. You got to develop and refine your mind. You got to do more reading and more studying. Watch my videos. I come out here all the time trying to share what I've learned in the last 28 years. That's all I've been doing for 28 years is reading and studying. I've been in school for 28 years. And I'm always reading and studying. It doesn't end. So number 5 is big. Now number 6, y'all are going to love this one. Attempted to compel others to believe and live as we do. But John, what are you doing? You're doing that, aren't you? No, I'm not. I don't compel others to believe and live as I do. However, I do encourage people that we do have a species-specific diet. I don't impose my diet on anybody because we all have a uniqueness to our own body. We are not imposing our diet on other people. We're imposing our diet on other people. But our diet is going to be a little bit unique. We're going to share the species-specific diet in common, and then we're going to have our own unique situation we have to deal with. If you live up in Canada or UK and you're not getting sunshine, you're not getting your vitamin D, now you've got another group of needs because we're damaged as a society. We're not living where we were originally designed. Can't even eat locally grown food anymore because we're not living where we're designed. So we have to realize that I'm not imposing my diet on anyone, but I am imposing our species-specific diet on everybody, helping them realize that the bulk of their diet is the same diet as mine. Now, I only have to make one simple adjustment in my diet, and that's B12. That's all I do different. I take a sublingual B12 twice a week as a maintenance. And that's all I do. And again, I'm not imposing my way of life or my diet on anyone else. There are laws of nature we all have to obey. I'm not imposing my laws of nature, they're laws of nature. We have to respect those laws of nature. We have to respect our anatomical limitations. I'm not telling you what to eat, your anatomy is telling you what to eat. I'm not imposing my diet on you, your anatomy is imposing your diet on you. We just happen to have the same anatomy. So we should have something in common. The thing in common is our species-specific diet. Now, again, am I imposing my beliefs on anybody? No, I'm saying there are laws of nature we have to obey. The biggest one is cause and effect. And if we don't have knowledge of how to live that precedes the cause, the things we do, then we're going to make mistakes and end up with problems. Now, I got excited when I first found these 6 mistakes by Cicero long ago, because I got 5 made mistakes. Now, if I was going back in his day, I'd only have 3, because the last 2 had to do with the agricultural revolution, the Industrial Revolution and the Chemical Revolution. So back in Cicero's days, he should have had those 3 mistakes on there. He didn't have that. He didn't have cooking our food, mistake number 1, eating animals, mistake number 2, number 3, eating plants we're not biologically adapted to eat. Those should have been on that list. If he would have put those on that list, he wouldn't need to think win-win, right? And then we could be proactive. We wouldn't have so many problems to worry about and not even know that they're within our control. That's the problem. So many times people are worrying about things that they should worry about because our so-called experts don't have that information. Again, if Cicero had those 3 mistakes on there, would we be having those other mistakes also? Think about it. Would we be insisting that it's impossible? Possibly. I can't do it. Some people might still think that. Are we setting aside our trivial preferences? I don't think that would be a problem. The development and refinement of the mind, that would be a given also. And then as far as compelling others to live like we do and believe like we do, I'm not telling you that you have to believe in my religion and have my dietary restrictions. I can understand why that could be a mistake. I don't want, you can't impose your beliefs on God on me and your dietary restrictions. But we have dietary restrictions. We have anatomical limitations, folks. There's no way around it. And you can argue till the cows come home and say, well, our guts have morphed, but they haven't changed the length of them. Eating a dead animal is still going to take too long to go through our food tube, and that's going to cause a lot of problems. So the moral of this whole video goes back to what I always say. If you don't understand the cause of disease, if you don't have the knowledge of how to live, then you really don't understand anything when it comes to solving problems. All these philosophers that don't talk about food are missing the boat, because that's the biggest mistake we're making right there. We're eating unnatural food. And what people end up doing, they sitting there pointing their fingers at subsequent causes, right? Let's work downstream. Stop thinking win-lose. Let's think win-win. Come on, let's be proactive. But wait a second. I lack the wisdom to know the difference. How can I be proactive? You can't, can you? That's why it's so important for the vast majority of us to test an idea whose time has come. Take that solid food vacation until you have the aha moment. And that will change your mentality. That's our problem, folks. We've got the wrong mentality. We have an exchange mentality. And it's all because we eat to win-lose. The day we can wake up and eat to win-win, oh, that's the day, my friends. Everybody, especially those other guys that we're eating, are in for a treat.